There's some
Recording in
pretty
progress.
good stuff. And some of it's not the best stuff, but some of it's pretty darn good. I'm very happy. I see there's a future for B movies. Making some pretty quality B movies. Dude, very close to A movies.
I don't really mind B movies as long as they're decent.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be fantastic. They just have
No.
to be decent.
Yeah, just to be credible, just a little credible and not stupid. That's,
There was one that I was watching, and it was done in a 1950s style sci-fi, and I'm like, I'm watching this thing, and I'm actually watching it. I'm like, yeah, there's something not right. Like, I went back and I looked, and it was made in 2021. It was a black and white. It was high quality black and white, which was
you
the
might not
first.
have caught the fact that it was in black and white, because that's me.
Well, that was the first. The first thing was it was high quality black and white, which I was like,
Something.
1950s movies are not high quality black and white.
Yeah. We got to find those. Got to figure out how to find those.
And I guess Ray decided to stay home. Says Ray.
I can't blame him. As much as he travels, he's good. You know, that's
Ray. Ray's iPod is talking, but we're not hearing anything.
It's just me. You hear me now?
There you are.
it's a synthesizer with Ray's voice. That's what it is.
No, 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 no. Yeah.
Yeah, it was our R2D2. You're at home.
Home.
Wow.
I'm not even in my shop.
That's actually kind of amazing.
That is. Wow.
I don't think you guys have ever seen my home.
No.
I've been over there one time,
Plants.
100 years ago.
I have yeah, I think you were in the shop downstairs, helped me put together a shelf.
I was there a couple of times, I think. Yeah, something like that.
Steve.
This is Steve. We need
I
Glenn.
knew there was a reason I wanted to come there in person. See Steve.
See Steve, huh?
Sound you?
Here we are. That looks better.
You're looking a little wore out there, Ray.
I am definitely so wore out. I had to go up to Michigan yesterday, so it was like a 5-hour drive there, 13-hour work day, and then a 5-hour drive back, and then
That leaves them.
I
out.
worked a regular 8-hour day today, so I'm tired.
I would have almost thought that
So,
with that much work, you would have gotten a hotel up there.
Yeah. Airbnb.
that much work, I didn't have enough time for a hotel anywhere. I'm so tired. I got myself something to drink and then I lost it.
McCrary syndrome.
That helped. That happens.
Welcome
Depends on the
to
drink.
welcome to
Here
my
it
age
is.
group. Yeah. Signs of future things to come.
Patty lost her glasses yesterday. Looked everywhere for these things. Finally went to work without her glasses. I got home, I flipped on the light, and they were sitting on the couch, right next to where she was sitting.
I have 4 pairs of glasses. I keep one set in each car. I have a spare because without my glasses, I can't find my glasses.
She has she has a pair of bifocals that she has never, ever gotten used to.
Yeah, I can't wear
And she took those to work with her and wore them for a couple hours and took them off and put them in her pocket. Because I guess she's just, I told her, I said, just keep wearing them. It's the only way to get used to them.
if that isn't so.
I don't know. I've
Even the
never had
no-line
them.
ones-
Do I?
Even the no line ones, just, I can see that line as I'm moving of things changing shape. And my brain does not appreciate that.
Guess that's Patty's problem because she kept saying that she could see the line, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
If you're just sitting stationary, it's fine. If you're not moving, but as soon as you start to move, as things approach, they change shape for just a bit.
Ah, I recognize that robot.
Oh,
Yes, that is Aiden's robot. That's the one that Aiden actually put together. And I have one that looks almost just like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he put it together, and has he programmed it yet?
Well, he and I put it together several weeks ago. And yeah, we've programmed it and just driving it around and stuff. And we got it put on his cell phone and on my iPad and all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
I might have the app on my phone.
But you probably do.
I can't remember if I had. Oh yeah, I did.
Looks like he's got a heart or something on the display.
Yeah, it is a heart,
A heart.
or maybe it's a alien.
No!
Ah!
I'm losing a wheel. I'm losing a wheel.
The wheel came off your robot.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you it's loose. It's loose.
Oh, you forgot to tell me, huh? Okay.
Hi, Aiden.
Everybody says hi. I guess I'll have to fix this loose wheel here, buddy.
For some reason, it's coming off.
Well, yeah, I think maybe we should get a second nut or a longer screw or welder.
A lock
No welder.
Welder.
A lock washer or something.
A lock washer, maybe. Uh-huh. Yeah. If it keeps coming loose, then we got to deal with that one. Forget it. We're just gonna buy a Cobra robot.
There you go.
you see that?
I'm tired of dealing with this. We're just gonna have to get a Cobra.
But they are deprecated and most systems don't use neck tools anymore.
SS, IPA. New platform. IP config.
So IP is
Yeah, that would be,
replaced neck tools for the most
oh,
part. IW stuff.
IF config.
That's been in Linux since Red Hat early, at least like 90s Red Hat.
IP route 2 is what they call this.
Okay. I've never heard of that SS. Oh,
short for socket statistics. That's probably ARP. IPA is ARP, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
So
No.
the IP, the system IP, A tells it return the addresses for all interfaces.
Okay, it's kind of like ARP minus A.
Oh,
Well, ARP gives you the things that are on the local machine's list of
Active
active
connection.
MAC addresses,
Okay.
not connections, just things that it's seen within the last few minutes or hour.
On the network.
Yes. Doesn't mean they're there anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's why you ping first and then ARP to see what you pinged.
ARP can do some other neat things. If you've got the MAC address of a thing, but you don't know its IP address, you can tell your machine that the IP address of that MAC address is 192.168.1.5. And then you
Okay.
can SSH to 192.168.1.5. And it will get there,
IW config,
wireless stuff.
command used for displaying and configuring wireless devices. IW replaces IW config, okay.
Not a big fan of wireless.
Yeah, I've always used the tools that came with it to configure stuff. I've got some stuff that's getting old and the original software is a little weird.
Well, in Linux, there's never software that comes with wireless devices, or at least nothing I've ever seen. That's part of the GNU utils, not.
Showing
They
and
don't
modifying
rely
network
on
interface.
Realtek to produce a software package to assign IP addresses and stuff.
I had a years ago, probably the first or second version of Ubuntu that needed special wireless drivers that put a little, an extra little wireless icon. It was
Oh, really?
a D-Link, I think,
Okay.
and they had their own little config tool that, just like the Windows version, it worked just the same.
It was.
It
It
probably-
probably used the Windows microcode. So the
Oh,
chip,
yeah, it probably did. It probably was,
the chip by itself wasn't a network device. It needed to have code loaded into it. That's true for a lot of wireless stuff. And it's nice from the perspective of sometimes you can upgrade this piece of hardware to work with a newer thing. But yeah, then you've got to push firmware.
that same device 4 or 5 versions later worked natively though. So it was something weird that had to be done. Other wireless devices work natively with that version of Ubuntu, but that D-Link needed its own.
Yeah.
It probably, now that you say that, I probably did have to do some funky thing and load the DLL or something to make that work. Hello, Mr. Hart, what's going on? Oh, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
You're getting better.
I'm getting better.
There you go. We can hear you now.
I didn't change anything. You sure it happened to my end of the wire?
Well, I didn't touch my computer, so.
I didn't either. So, however, I will say this. I think 2 days ago, I cranked up the latest version of Zoom, which was, I guess, early March, and installed it. And I'm not sure that everything is copacetic, so to speak. I had a real strange time with the video this time. I did a WebEx run earlier on, but of course that isn't affected by Zoom. So and the camera worked fine then. But when I cranked up the Zoom session, like 15 minutes before the hour, first I couldn't get the video to start. And I fiddle around. Finally, it started after rebooting 3 times. And now it's doing strange things with the audio. So, but you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Are you on 5.9.6 of Zoom?
I think it's 5.10 point something or another.
Because it says it's up to date. That's the version that's on mine, and I haven't noticed anything really overtly strange other than it sounds like the audio is doing like a rising kind of deal
In a barrel.
in a barrel. But I updated Zoom this past week. So, but it sounds like, at least when you first started talking, we didn't hear you, and then it did like a rise, and I could hear you a little, and then all of a sudden you were fine.
Okay.
So maybe.
Well, I
maybe it's
updated
like,
it. I updated it, I think 2 days ago, but the actual update, Zoom update, I think occurred a week and a half ago or so in actually sometime in the first half of March.
Yeah.
The previous one was done, I think it was done in late 21 or something like that. It was pretty well out of date. And so
It's what's that? Well, I know what I'm thinking. I just can't think of what I'm thinking. I can't articulate what I'm thinking, but where the microphone is effectively cut off until it actually hears a noise, and then
Noise
Oh.
canceling.
Box
like a Vox.
speak to,
and auto gain.
Yeah, kind of like a noise cancel maybe. That's kind of sort of what it sounded like it was doing. Was like yours up?
I just put the version that I'm running on the in the chat session.
You're right.
That's
So-
interesting.
So if you take a look in the chat session, you'll see that I'm running 5.10.0 or 2450. I don't know what the 2450 means, but I assume that's a build number. Anyway, if you can see the chat session, you can see what version I'm running.
Yeah. That's interesting because
How'd you do your upgrade?
download the deb file.
So did I.
There it is.
Well,
And it says you are up to date.
okay.
So that's
I don't find that always to be a good indication of whether or not I'm up to date or not, because that may say that it's in the repository, in the Ubuntu repository, and you're up to date with that, but you're not up to date with the Zoom website. So anyway, bottom line is I'm running 5.10.0, otherwise known as 2450.
so and you updated a couple of days ago.
I think probably on Monday.
If you installed from the Ubuntu repository. No, okay.
No, I downloaded it directly from the Zoom website. But I probably
I installed the deb from the Zoom website. I downloaded the deb and installed it from there. I did not install it from the Ubuntu repository.
So, did you, which version did you choose? Linux Mint version?
No, I chose the Debian version,
Okay,
Debian version.
well, maybe that's,
It should work
oh, yeah.
across the board. It should work on.
I always assumed they were all the same. They just were trying to gather statistics about who was actually using it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The file sizes were different.
Okay,
I downloaded several of them and the file sizes were actually different. The file size for this version was almost double the file size that I used, the deb file that I used to install the last version.
well, that's probably the difference. I wonder what actually has changed.
I don't know. Gotta update my laptop.
Well, yeah, but now the curiosity in me is going, why are there two different dev versions?
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand if it was a Raspberry Pi version, you know, an ARM version and a x86 version or something.
If they're doing current Debian, the libraries are more advanced than Ubuntu, and that's more advanced than Mint. Mint is based on old Ubuntu. Old era.
Yeah,
It's based on LTS version, I think.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
And the
that's-
new LTS version doesn't come out until mid-April. So it'll be released someplace around tax day.
Yeah, I'm still regretting upgrading from 20.2 to 20.3. Just weird little quirky things that eventually are going to get fixed, but it's just enough to bug me.
Yeah.
And it's starting to get, it's starting to get to that point where it didn't bug me, and now it's really just starting to bug me.
So now you're on Mint, not,
Yeah,
not
I've been on Mint for years, ever since Ubuntu went to Unity.
Yeah.
I
That's what-
jumped ship.
That's what pushed me off of Ubuntu too.
I jumped ship. Said, nope.
I use XFCE, so I don't get involved in that dogfight.
I am on using my Mate or Mate desktop, and I've threatened a couple of times to go ahead and switch to Cinnamon.
I
Cinnamon,
can't tell which one I'm on. I have both,
yeah,
and they're both fine.
yeah. Cinnamon, when they first started that project, it was really, really buggy, but now it seems like it's rock steady and stable.
Yeah, I'm happy.
It's a little heavier version though.
A little. They're both pretty darn light. I mean, I've
It-
got it running on what is a glorified Chromebook, and it's pretty peppy.
How do you glorify a Chromebook?
Well, technically, it wasn't a Chromebook. It shipped with Windows 10s, which never got a chance to boot. But it has a 64 gig NVRAM drive in it, which with Windows 10, it would have been able to do 2 updates and then would have locked up. So yeah, it's not quite a Chromebook, but pretty close. 4 gigs of RAM,
Yeah,
4 gig. It's not even really an NVMe. It shows up as a micro SD card, actually.
You thought about trying Chrome OS Flex on it?
Does what I want.
No real reason to.
I really only use it as an interface. to
Okay.
If if it works,
Yeah.
don't fix it.
And it runs Netflix full screen 19.2 or 1920 by 1080, and it seems to have a good refresh rate.
Pretty.
That's my test. If it runs Netflix okay, and I can SSH to stuff, I'm good.
I'm happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I occasionally need to start up something like GIMP, and it is woefully underpowered for that, which is why it's only occasionally. But yeah,
Well,
I have a desktop machine if I need to use GIMP.
I think Cinnamon, when they first made it, it was,
Ugly.
well, and it was very bloated. It was full of stuff that you're sitting there going,
Why'd they do that?
why did they do that? And I think over time, they have scaled it down, made it pretty, made it run right, made it run the way it should. And one reason why I considering changing is because almost every forum post that I read anymore, you know, the answer is always something that have to do with how Cinnamon is interfacing with something or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
I-
Finding the answer for Mate is getting to be fun.
Yeah.
When you go and you Google search something and you get thousands of answers for Cinnamon and a couple for Mate.
Well, that means that there were thousands of problems with Cinnamon.
Could be.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I know, though, I'm having very similar, especially with the tray icons.
Mhm.
And when I Google that, every answer I come up with is something about Cinnamon.
You know, you can install Cinnamon and
Oh,
just
I know.
switch back and forth.
I know.
And
I know it's not
if the
a,
problem goes away, stop switching.
I know it's not a, and I know I could customize it to make it look
Yeah.
pretty basic, like I like.
Yeah, yeah, I am pretty minimalist on GUIs.
It doesn't really need to be all things. I
I'll tell you,
like the flippy desktop, but that's about it.
one that's interesting is i3. I played with that for a while as a desktop environment. That takes a bit to get used to. It's a tiling thing and it's all keyboard oriented, which that part I liked. But
There was one of them years ago, I don't know what it was, but it was really minimalistic and keyboard based, and there wasn't any icon. There was no system tray, no nothing.
could be black box. You had to right click on the desktop to get anything.
Or type, just start typing stuff in, yeah.
I
It
think
might
that's
have
black box.
It might have been. It was interesting. I never quite got used to it, so I kind of,
So black box is modeled after Next, what Steve Jobs wanted on the Next computer, which it's a pity that thing didn't survive.
yeah. I saw a Raspberry Pi running a Mac OS, which it's an emulator, but running like the early Mac desktops. But that's,
Is that Darwin or a real Mac?
no, it's an emulator. It's I don't know exactly what it was. I think it was bare metal though, and it was its own thing, and it would boot right up into something that appeared to be Mac OS, like one of the original Mac OS. It's the black and white deal.
Oh, before the change to the Intel hardware?
Yeah.
So it was on the Motorola hardware, basically.
Yeah, and I think it was just an emulator running it. The
Okay.
guy had replaced, he had an old Mac SE that didn't work, and he replaced everything inside with a Raspberry Pi and an LCD screen, and it looked and acted just like it would be a Mac.
Color. Oh, no, the SE
SE wasn't color.
was it?
No.
I thought it was. I thought that was the, it came with a minimum of 50 gig SCSI drive.
I think it does. I think it did have a hard drive in it, but it didn't have, it was still black and white.
Okay.
I think that's the one that used, I think that was the first one that used the ADB keyboard,
Oh,
I think.
it's kind of sad that a Raspberry Pi can emulate what was a pretty advanced computer at its time. And yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because there's all these groups of people that want to make, like Vicente over there, that want to make old hardware.
Yeah.
New, old new hardware.
I have a video here.
Oh, okay. Oh, look, speaking of, did you make this, Vicente?
No. But it's tiny. It's really nice. I think it's making that work. Is this one? here? So Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, now they're running. The keyboard's bigger than the Mac.
The mouse he's using is bigger than the Mac.
The mouse is bigger than the Mac.
That is cute.
Yeah.
So where'd that come from, Vicente?
No, I just input in the browser Macintosh and Raspberry Pi. It appears.
it's got to be a Pi Zero.
Yeah,
well,
but where did the case and so forth come from?
3D printing.
Oh,
It's making a tiny.
Pi Zero. Okay.
so this is a Vicente special, huh? One of a kind.
I'm pretty sure that the one that I saw where the guy had stuck it in the SE case was using a Raspberry Pi 4, but he said almost any of them would work. They're all more powerful than the Mac.
Nice.
I miss that operating system. That probably was, that was my favorite computer I could never afford. You remember, what was it, Frederick's in the mall downtown Middletown? Frederick's Computer Supply, Frederick's. They were Macintosh dealers. I would go down there after school and just sit there and play and play and play until they finally got tired of me coming down there and kicked me out. So their machines were $12,000. You can't be playing on a $12,000 computer.
Watch.
I can. I know how.
I got kicked out of Radio Shack until I got a job there.
Was that when Radio Shack was real Radio Shack before it became the phone store?
Yeah. Yeah, that was when they were still selling the TRS-80.
Oh. So that was back in the 70s then. or early 80s.
80s. Yeah, I started working there when I was 15. They had just bought all the leftover stock from Olson Electronics.
So you actually had people there who knew something about electronics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, the last 15 years of their existence, nobody knew anything about anything except the latest cell phone that they were trying to push. But if you went in there and asked them for an LED or IC or something, they'd say, well, no, there's some drawers in the back. You can fool around in there and
That's
Fine.
usually the answer I got was,
Yeah.
they're probably back there somewhere in that stack of stuff.
well, they had those big sliding
Yeah.
drawers that had all the parts in them.
I've still got the first solar panel I bought. It was at Radio Shack, and the thing couldn't have been more than about 4 centimeters square. And it produced zero power. I mean, half a volt at like 10 milliamps wasn't enough to do anything whatsoever. In bright sunlight, it would light a very dim LED.
You know,
I still have a couple of TRS-80 model 100s.
Really, the little tiny one.
It's decent size. The Model 100.
Yeah,
I'm
they're-
thinking of the 104.
And then I have the NEC, whatever that was, 8201, which,
you don't still have it?
yeah, I still have. I've got Tandy 102, which is the upgraded version of the 100, and upgraded by means of it's slightly different.
It's more round.
Actually has a slightly smaller case and slightly more long.
So does Tandy still exist? I mean, Radio Shack is dead, but is Tandy is still around?
Actually, RS is still alive. It's now RS. Tandy's gone back to just doing leather.
Yeah,
That's how is what Tandy started as. Tandy Leather, the owner of that, was into electronics. So he started up.
Yeah, well, they sold all kinds of crafts. Like I remember my sisters had these bead weaving little looms where you had a whole series of parallel wires and you took a needle and these little tiny beads and you weave belts and wallets and all that kind of stuff.
Radio Shack is back. Shop radios, headphones, TV antennas.
somebody told me that Radio Shack was going to be another cryptocurrency though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that somebody had bought the brand name and they wanted to turn it into cryptocurrency.
Okay. Mhm.
And I don't know. There were actually articles about it, but I haven't seen or heard anything since. It was probably 6 months ago, maybe.
The last time I was in a Radio Shack was at least 4 years ago. They don't have battery cards anymore.
Oh, really?
Some of the franchises are still around, apparently. But
Yeah, AM, FM, or weather, yeah, they're
Cor-
selling
corporate's
them.
pretty much gone, but the
Yeah.
couple of the franchises are still around.
They seem to be doing better in Europe than the US. They're one of the suppliers for pies.
Uh, Hard to say.
Trying to remember what I went into, the one in Hamilton next to the Harbor Freight.
Where's that?
In Hamilton, there's a Harbor Freight, there's a strip mall with a Kroger, a Harbor Freight, a Sally Beauty, and a Radio Shack. And it's still there. I'm trying to remember why I went in there. And I couldn't find what I was looking for, so I asked them if I could still use my battery card, and they said no.
So there's still a Radio Shack in Hamilton? It must be a franchise.
More of a Sprint store. I think.
Did anybody get the mail?
When, 20 years ago, when I went out to California, we stopped at a little place in basically Colorado mountains and stayed overnight. But when we got up the next morning to get breakfast, right next to the diner, there was an Ace Hardware Radio Shack. I was like, this is the coolest place ever. You could get your lumber, you could get your electronics.
There was one like that in Shelby, Ohio, too. Right next to the box of transistors, they were selling washing machines and mattresses.
Yeah. This was a little tiny village up in the top of the mountain.
His phone.
Hey, we're gonna get a copyright strike.
What?
Who's singing?
Vicente is playing some music.
This was made by Radio Shack in China.
What about in China?
Radio Shack, this
This is Radio Shack.
Cassette player.
made for Radio Shack in China.
Made for Radio Shack.
Of course.
I bought it using. I bought it in eBay last week for $8.
Volume.
That's how I saved my programs back on my TRS-80.
Yes, I will use it to program my new board. Retro computing.
I've got I think I've got a TI
That I wanted.
cassette deck.
Excuse me?
Okay.
Did you
Show
collect
me
the
later.
office?
I've got I think it's a Radio Shack cassette deck that I found it at a thrift store for like 99 cents.
Somewhere I've got an old
So I'll have to show it to you on Friday.
Commodore cassette deck.
Oh, wait, I won't be there.
Easy plug on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave tomorrow morning. I'm not even gonna see you till what, Monday? Holy
See you
crap.
Saturday night. Unless you're out with your boys.
You coming back on Saturday?
Yes, I have to. I have to work Sunday.
Oh.
So does Rochelle. So does Candace.
Paper.
For like a pocket PC.
It's got batteries in it.
Is that type?
Your flight reservations?
No.
I've got PC2.
Okay.
I've got another. Is it a 3 or a 4? I've got one.
So what am I thinking of? Because I would have sworn that was the model 104.
I don't know what you're thinking of.
Let's see what a TRS-80 104 is.
I don't know if there is a 104. Got one of these. TRS-80. TRS-80 model. Oh, is the 104 the big thing? Yeah. It's a
Well, I
Model
don't have
4.
one of those.
It's a Model 4.
I've got one of the little tiny
You've got
little tubes, PC2, I guess.
TRS-80 Model 100.
I always wanted one of those.
I've got a couple of them. You can actually find them reasonably priced, but
And they
not.
probably still work. It's a bunch of 7400 chips in there.
I would one of the conventions that I went to.
Mhm.
Guy was trying his best, and I passed it by. He was trying his best to get rid of one of them for $50, and I was like, I don't need another one. I don't need another one. I've got one of these. I've got the 102, which I think is this one, and the 100, which is just slightly different. What I need is a set of acoustic couplers. That would be awesome. 300 baud acoustic couplers.
You could make those.
I know. I'm too lazy to make those. The even if they don't work, look there, somebody ripped out the original screen and stuck something in there and stuck a Raspberry Pi in one. Go figure. Made it color.
And much higher resolution.
Much higher resolution.
Much faster.
These things are awesome. And there was a Radio Shack WP2, I think it's what it was called, which was that thing, which was a word processor that also, I think it included BASIC in it.
Mhm.
So it was basically a dumbed down version of the Model 100.
I had a Coleco Atom that was about that.
That was a dumbed down version.
I think so. I don't think it had as much memory or something in it, but it had ROMs built into it for the word processing. I don't remember. I never had one of those. I always thought that it was kind of a fascinating device, but
There was a thing that they made for a while. It was a keyboard with a little display, ran on 2 AA's, I think. Had a built-in modem, and I think it tied to Juno email.
that was a mail station. I don't think.
Yeah, I figured out how to get those things to work pretty well.
One of these suckers.
Yeah,
I don't think Radio Shack made those. I think
no, no, it wasn't.
that was somebody else.
For a while, you could buy those things for like $10 at Odd Lots.
If they were hackable, I would.
They were.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get them to do much else other than that. But if you set up a Linux box right, so that you could dial into it, you could use it for email and everything.
That makes
You just
sense.
had to tell it that it was Earthlink. So when it dialed in and tried to get to Earthlink, it said, "Oh, you're there."
That makes sense. So you weren't really hacking the device. You were fooling the device into thinking.
Changing its environment.
You were fooling it into thinking it was something else.
Fooling thinking it was somewhere else.
Somewhere else. You got
I gave my mom one of those. She used it for email for a couple of years until she wanted something that would show pictures.
I think I have a PC4. I think that's the one I've got. There's the
Maybe
PC4.
that's what I was thinking of. That's not the printer I had.
then that's probably not the one you were thinking of. The
That
P-
is,
The PC3,
yeah, I've still got that printer somewhere.
and then there was the PC2, which was flipping huge. It's not exactly what I would call a pocket computer, but it's small.
Mhm.
It's also a real computer. It's got a real computer interface. There's a real, the plus is right there. You can do everything.
Yeah,
Then they had the original,
yeah,
which I don't know if it was called PC1 or
the
not.
whole 4 megahertz clock speed. 2.
PC2 was pretty awesome. And then they went to something with a membrane keyboard. And that was, I think, when they switched from Sharp to Casio-ish.
That's actually kind of cool.
I had one of these when I was in high school and I hated everything about it. The thing about that, it was cheap, so
Yeah,
people could get it.
yeah, but compared to a Timex Sinclair,
And
it's a
this
step up.
is the one I had in high school, was the PC7. Hated it.
Ooh, hard to learn how to type on that
Yeah.
keyboard.
Well, and it's a membrane keyboard, so you really couldn't type on it anyway.
Yeah,
But this was basically a glorified calculator. And then I think they went back to Sharp because nobody liked that. So you got the PC8, but the PC3, I think, was one of the better ones, and they're kind of expensive now. If you find a PC3, you don't pay for it. But they all, at least as far as the Sharps go, they all had a printer interface that you could just
Mhm.
either shove in the side or shove up on top. The
It
Sharps,
might- It might be for that thing, I don't know.
the Sharps were pretty. See, so the 1500 is they're equivalent to one of the other ones. I think that's the PC2. But they made Sharp rebranded for Radio Shack, and they made a couple of small changes about where some of the button layout was, but otherwise they're just pretty much the same thing.
Mhm.
That's some of the interesting crap that I know in my brain. I don't really know why I need to know that stuff. I just know it. Oh, we lost some people.
Did I blow up? Oh, no, I'm still there.
You're still there.
I'm surprised.
We
I
lost-
think Ken left.
we
Kenny
lost
comes and
Kenny,
goes anyway.
And
Yep.
we lost Ray's still there, but we lost his video. It's all right. Ray says he's talking, but he's not. I don't hear him. Yeah.
I was making a replica of the Apple One,
Mm-hmm.
just a board. Let me share the screen. It's like a kit, but I bought all the parts separately. I bought the board in eBay, and then I bought all the parts one by one in the last 2 months. So I assembled all of this board. This is after soldering and cleaning, and then checking the voltage of the any couple of pins of an IC. This is the memory chip. So supposedly there will be 5 volts here, but we only have 4.7 volts because we are losing 300 millivolts in this diode. The 5 volts come from the USB port and pass through this diode. So we are losing like 300 millivolts, but it's okay. It's working anyway. This is the circuit in the Nano. In the Arduino Nano, the Arduino Nano has a diode to select the voltage between USB or your internal regulator. So to avoid any shortcut of the voltage from the regulator to the USB in your computer, they put this protection diode here. But it means that your Arduino never works using 5 volts because you lose something here. So usually your Arduino is working with 4.75 volts or so. And this is the final assembly. This is running the Wozniak monitor, Wozmon. It's a very simple monitor of the Apple One to check addresses and to change the value of the addresses. And there is also a basic, integer basic, a very small basic in this direction. E-O-O-O, you press R to run basic, and you have basic in your Apple One replica.
Oh,
So that's what my project 2 days ago. I also made this King One replica, and I am planning to use this recorder to load and save programs, but it will come from China in 3 weeks or so. I will check if it works with the old hardware.
Okay,
This is for Leroy.
Adam West.
Yeah. You remember this movie?
Yeah, I was getting ready to watch that movie actually.
I was watching it in YouTube, you know.
Yeah,
It's free if you stand the ads that they are very frequent, but it's okay. I just mute the thing for a while.
yeah. I'm pretty sure I've got that movie on DVD somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a full.
So that's it.
Yeah, they made a Batman movie, Batman '66, based on Adam West's. It was actually supposed to be before the TV show, but for whatever reason, it ended up being after it.
what do you want for lunches? Coming week, you want turkey pastrami again?
Somebody's.
Yeah.
I'm up in there. Okay. Turkey pastrami. You want chicken and crackers?
You bring
Yes
it
and
up?
yes, okay.
Turkey,
Yes.
pastrami, and bacon?
Uh,
Is bacon
roll
in there somewhere? Club sandwich, that sounds.
And.
Are you guys listening to my wife ordering lunch food?
Oh, sorry.
allegedly.
Sorry. Sorry.
Did you see the Batman movie yet, Vicente?
What?
Did you see the new movie yet?
No, no, but I must. Supposedly it's very good.
Yeah. You really need to go see it.
I know.
Don't wait for it to come out on DVD. Go see it.
Or-
I want to go see it again. I want to go see it again and again and again.
Wow.
That
So
doesn't happen often with movies and me.
you are an authority on that. So I must see it.
Uh, yeah.
Anybody had any experience with solar lamps beside me? The cheapo solar rechargeable lamps?
Like the outside,
Yeah,
plant them in the ground and they come on at night kind of deal.
yeah.
Well, you like the ones you use along the side of your sidewalk? Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
No, mine are the stick on the wall or stick them wherever you want them. And they just light up when somebody walks by, motion detection type.
My mom has a couple of those. They work.
The thing is that I've got one that I think has died on me. I use them for out by the barn, so if the critters walk by, they're intimidated because I don't want groundhogs liking my barn too much. And I'm getting these guys for about $5 a piece, but I think one of them is failing. One of them looks like it had UV damage.
Which is sad for a thing that's supposed to be outside.
Yeah.
Well, I would think
Yeah.
the batteries would go bad on them. We previously had the little stick the things in the ground things, and they do go bad, but they're cheap, you know, two
Yeah.
or $4. Expect them to last, 10, 15 years.
What are you showing us, Ray? I know
So this past weekend, I was down in South Carolina, and I picked up one of these printers. And on eBay, this sells for about $5,000 to $9,000, and I got one. I don't have, believe it or not, space that I really wanted to use it in Ohio. So I dropped it off at a friend's house in Asheville, North Carolina. And he and I are going to share this printer from his location. So he's going to use it more often than me. And he's going to use it for making vehicle sticker wraps.
Cool.
But in getting this printer, he'll be able to do 54 inches wide, and as long as the roller is the roll as material. But it's very, very neat. It has a little bit of damage on it right now. It needs one printer head, and but it came with like 30 cartridges of ink. And considering the price, I think I got a really, really great deal. And I'm holding my language there. Yeah.
Oh. Was he the one that got us in trouble?
No, they had to put a parental advisory because I said something. No, I think they were just messing with me before. But it's a very nice eco-solvent printer that I picked up. And I think the libraries around here have some really nice printers that you can use for like $2 a foot.
Yeah. I think that one that's here at this library is a Roland.
I was using it.
Is it a Roland? It's
Yeah.
a Roland, isn't it? Roland part printer?
This is in the library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an SG 540.
I don't know. I was doing my project about the gradient bot that sense
Wow.
the grade level, you know?
I did
So-
not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So is that just regular paper or is that a special?
No, this is a
paper?
banner, a vinyl banner. It's very strong, very durable.
No, but the question is, what kind of paper does it use?
It's vinyl.
It's like a vinyl.
Vinyl.
Oh,
Well, you can
okay.
use a sticker paper, or they have a lot of different papers.
Do they have like banner tarp material?
I use a banner material. I have a sample in my hand.
Okay.
Let me stop sharing.
What did it cost?
I paid $3 for this one. It's really cheap. It's really cheap, the material.
$3?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Not
Let
what
me,
they wanted to hear.
let me change.
He was looking for hundreds, yeah.
Hundreds of dollars.
I can see the dollar
That-
signs in his eyes.
That,
So,
that one that we printed, I think it was only like $12 for. It was. a
Look,
decent
this
sized,
is the material. It's very strong. And you can put eyelets on it. You know, this was a sample. I was certified a month ago in the machine. But it's cheaper just to ask for the online service. You pay the same and you don't need to go there until the work is done. So it's very,
Send them your files and let them.
yeah, a PDF with the,
So about 4 foot by 10 foot is going to cost me less than $50.
Mhm.
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I really, I made 11 tracks and paid $13
He put
because
a contract on you.
it's very cheap.
I think that.
Do they have those in Middletown as well?
This is the only one that the library has right now, I think.
Middletown's talking about setting something up, but they're talking really small. I'd go over and visit with them.
So is this in the Midpoint Library?
Yeah. Right down
This
here in
this was my first experiment using my printer at home. Using just paper, you know, with the printer. The robot I just made a gray sensor, and the robot changed direction depending on the gray level, and it's very immune to the light, ambient light. It's have very strong immunity. I made a video about that, but I think it's this one. You can try to bother the robot and he stayed on track. Doesn't matter what you do with your flashlight, red or white or whatever. You see?
But you're cruel.
Yeah.
Well, he's being nice compared to beating a robot with a hockey stick.
Oh, well,
Wait, what?
I don't have a hockey stick.
Oh, Boston Dynamics
No.
beating a robot with a hockey stick. Poor robot.
Well, gentle folks, I apologize, but I gotta go.
Oh, no.
Wave to drop by. You need lenses, no lenses?
No.
Next week on your phone.
Okay, I'll try for that. I gotta go do some more packing. That's why I got to go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. Our sympathies.
You
Steve,
got-
are you moving this weekend?
We moved last weekend, got all the big stuff. Now I'm going back for little stuff. Yeah, we got a house over in Eastgate.
You didn't get the meeting announcement with the free beer? No?
Well, I'm
Nasty.
I'm possibly available Friday, Saturday if you need help.
Okay. Careful of that offer.
Well, I have a truck.
Bye,
and all,
Steve.
you know,
Bye.
I can help.
I can help to give sympathy. I'm too decrepit.
He's not gonna have a family to have to worry about for a couple of days.
Yeah, my family's going on a vacation down in South Carolina. I'm going on vacation here without them.
Love you too, baby.
Art, what are you doing with your staring machine at your back in the window?
Pardon?
Staring or staring, how you call when you look at someone using your
Oh, you're
telescope?
talking about the monocular on the tripod?
yeah, the monocle, yeah.
Oh, I
For-
just use that for looking at birds
Birds, okay.
and other stuff.
I have a
Actually-
I have a lot
Yeah,
here, a lot of birds.
Interested in.
Well, it actually, when I've got it pointed the correct direction, it looks directly at my bird feeder in my
Okay.
backyard. So, but I haven't been out to replenish the bird feeder for a while. And so, the birds have abandoned me.
Window's dirty.
Ah, nice.
Yep.
I have one in the basement, but no beers at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, I bought one.
If it's squirrels eat all of our bird seed.
I never hunger it.
Yeah, I have
You can tell when the squirrels eat the bird seed because I think that they definitely have a preference of which seed they like compared to which ones they don't like to try to open. So I think what are the sunflower seeds? They don't like to crunch them open. The other ones they like to eat.
Black oil and sunflower, similar.
Yeah, I have a shepherd's hook out by my back fence that my son-in-law made for me. And so the first thing I did is it's got two places where you can hang feeders.
Mhm.
So I hung the feeder out there. Well, that lasted about 24 hours until one of the local raccoons figured out that he could leap from the fence to the bird feeder. And if he grabbed real quick, he could get there. And then the standard drill was he didn't bother to eat hanging up there. He knocked the bird feeder down. It hit the ground. And of course, the rest is history. So I then put up one and I moved the shepherd's hook far enough away that the squirrel would have to be an Olympic jumper to make it. I mean, it's like, I think 10, 15 feet from this fence. And so he figured out how to, I'm assuming it's a he, the raccoon figured out how to jump or how to climb the shepherd's hook. So, I tried greasing it and all that kind of stuff.
I think that there is a project that you use a machine learning and a camera to identify birds and open and close your feeder,
Yeah, okay. So then I finally put
Where's my thing?
it's got a shield that you can put on a
Where'd
post.
it go? No, it was right here.
And
You moved it. It used to be right up there.
he finally
You moved it.
Figured out how to get around that. So I've got sitting in my office, I've got a fence, an electric fence charger. And one of these days, I'm gonna hook that sucker up and electrify my bird feeder. It won't bother the birds because they don't have, they're not big enough so that they will grab the bird feeder end and the ground post. But the raccoons will have to do that. They'll hop from one to the other. And in the midpoint, they will be grounded and have the high voltage zapper going with them. So one of these days I will get enthusiastic about getting rid of raccoons again and do that. But I had a little tiny raccoon. It must have been a yearling or something last year, and he was really tenacious, man. He thought he had found the gold, the gold standard in bird feeders. So
You see this? A camera?
what is that, a camera in there?
Yeah.
It looks like one of those doorbell cameras. Like a Nest.
Bear Buddy. This is a campaign. Right?
They have some black oil mixed in with that, but get them black oil or sunflower seed. They love that. The rest of that crap, I don't know too much.
Well, there's some little tiny round seed that are about the size of a BB shot. And some of the smaller birds really like those.
Yeah, a lot of them will take and throw them out.
Oh yeah, they'll get in there and just scoot around with their feet and splash them all over the place. Then they end up on the ground, and then everybody has a banquet.
Oh, you can use that Google thing to find the birds, identify your birds, and to identify your plants. That Google photo tool, Edge. Oh, that was, yeah, that's good.
It notifies you when there is a bird, the feeder. This is art in shorts.
I'm sorry?
This
Underwear,
is
yeah.
you need those shorts to go out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
Smart feeder. This is the campaign of the
So how much is this?
Pre-order.
It's a Kickstarter.
September Kickstarter. 139 for
Euros, 139 euros.
euros. Yeah.
150, 160.
Yeah.
149.
My
So
brother's
there's-
got one for his cats, and he can actually talk to his cats, and he can see the cats.
Okay.
Okay, and he can feed them over from his phone.
There are
Oh yeah.
That one's
smart.
kind of cool.
This is a smart feeder also. This one. Coral. Smart bear feeder. This is different, I guess.
We need one with a kettle prod for the squirrels.
Well, if you had a way to identify if it was a bird or not, like Vicente said, open the door for the bird and close the door when something else comes.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be too hard to.
But
do.
the squirrels are very smart to find out how to solve the problem.
And Gail was playing the bird sounds and she played an owl sound and an owl answered from our yard.
Did that one bird feeder camera, did that identify what kind of bird or just the fact that it was a bird?
Depending on what you want, the training of the learning thing.
That Kickstarter looked like it said what kind of bird it was.
Yeah, you can use photo to identify the bird. I had some of, I thought were robins and did a cut of the robin, and sure enough, it wasn't a robin, it was a bluebird. I wasn't sure, and it told me, yes, that's a bluebird. So it also identifies plants and all kinds of things. That is Google Photos.
You mean a blue bird or a blue jay?
Is a blue bird. Now, if it's a blue jay, trust me, I would know.
Yeah.
A bluebird, yeah, it was up in the tree. I was about 100 feet away, and it looked like bluebird, but it was, you know, at the end of the season when the colors are off.
Yeah, blue jays are very aggressive, very unfriendly.
They're carnivores.
Yeah, they
aggressively carnivores. They eat mice.
They eat little baby birds. They try to eat little baby birds out of the nest. Yeah, eggs. They're unpleasant.
Straight up carnivores.
This one is the guy has the camera and the computer inside the house and check the feeder from inside the house. And I think he open and close the small windows in the feeder to let the bird eat or not, depending on what kind of animal.
Yeah, you can go into take a picture of it and just go into photos and select the picture and right click it, and it'll look it up.
That's a Raspberry Pi. So that
Yeah.
camera, that VisiCam that I got should be able to do that.
He used a Raspberry Pi, yes.
Yeah.
Man, you guys can read faster than me because I can't read any of that.
I wasn't reading.
Just look at the pictures like
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That's all I did was look at the picture.
I can read about a third of it. Like, slow down a little.
Look here.
I gathered it was a Raspberry Pi because it's on the Raspberry Pi website.
Yeah, well, it's got that characteristic cable of the Raspberry Pi cameras too.
Yeah. And this is a Raspberry Pi here.
Well, right there, it said that he was identifying the difference between a bird and a squirrel. And if it was a squirrel, he closes the door.
Yeah.
It's in the paragraph lower. I was reading most of it. You guys are fast, though.
Yeah, that was one of the things that VisiCam that I got was going to do. Only they were going to shoot the squirrels with water.
Oh, you ruined my day. You said water.
Yeah, well, suppose you could airsoft them or something.
It wasn't a raccoon.
It wasn't a raccoon. It's a squirrel. Squirrels are
Shotgun shells.
Squirrels are annoying, but they're cute.
Hmm.
That's your array.
No, I didn't tell him about my array.
No,
Uh-oh.
Happens so. And you too, Dan?
No, everybody's looking for videos with squirrels or bird feeders with squirrels.
So what are we going to do with the squirrels? We're going to shoot them.
It's a squirt gun on a turret.
Yeah. Water gun.
Target acquired. Boom.
Attacking the building.
Boom. You're out of here, squirrel.
Is he shooting it with water?
Yeah, water.
They say they're shooting it with water.
Yeah, shooting water.
Can I give that a profile of a raccoon? I promise I'll use water. Yeah.
This is in North Carolina.
So you're looking for wings. Anything that's got wings, it's okay. Anything else, you shoot it.
Very sophisticated.
So I guess that means a penguin could get up onto your bird feeder. It's got wings.
Being funny, everybody was busy looking for squirrel and said, squirrel. That's
Yeah.
what happened.
Oh. What happened?
I blew up.
You got out of there, huh?
I would need something with like an air cylinder. Way I pump the shotgun again.
Stop. Okay.
CO2 cartridge. That should
Yep.
last a little while.
Aiden.
yeah. And then use a Crossman rifle.
I got a 13-shot BB pistol, CO2 BB pistol.
Yeah,
Repeating, yeah.
that should work.
What's the range on that?
Oh, you'd have to be pretty close to it. Also have a rifle, a BB rifle, which is probably the range is not terribly much better, maybe 20 feet. To be accurate. The pistol is probably accurate to maybe 10 feet.
So you just figure out some way to keep that refilling and put a bigger CO2 tank on it.
It's got the pistol's got 13. Now the pistol, the rifle has to be, you have to shake it to get, well, you can load probably 15 or 20 shots on the rifle.
Yeah.
But the pistol should be good for close range. Put a PTZ on it, pan tilt, and a camera, you'd be ready to go.
Little AI going on to look for squirrels and
Yeah.
chipmunks and small.
Well, the
rodents.
problem, what happens if you miss the squirrel and hit the feeder?
That's why you have a tough feeder. Like my feeder is a wire mesh. It's wire, and You put the suet inside of it and you can hit it, doesn't matter.
There are acceptable casualties.
Yeah, you don't want a plastic, yeah, two is you don't want a glass bird feeder, okay? You don't want a plastic bird feeder. And then the suet feeder is a metal box and it's plastic coated. So when you hot it up, you don't get shocked when you touch, you're hanging it on an electric post. So I've got a zapper too. So the plastic bird feeder is insulated so you don't get shocked. It's food pollution. But the squirrels don't like it. I've learned my little fence charge, you just take a couple of wires and put it up around the bird feeder section and the squirrel understands quickly. And you have an insulated section on your bird feeder. But the squirrel has, and the raccoon has to climb the metal post.
So the birds don't get shocked just because they're small enough that they miss the wires or what?
Well, they're on the bird feeder and the bird feeder is insulated. Like
Ah.
it's a metal rack, but it's plastic coated. So it's all coated. The birds don't. They don't put their feet on the post. They're light on the bird feeder and the bird feeder's fine. And you run some wires around the bird feeder and whatever's climbing the post and sticks its nose into the wires, boom, because the post is grounded.
Oh, wait. I heard you say boom.
I mean, snap. Snap. I don't want to hurt them. I do want to discourage them, and that discourages them. Yeah. Of course, others might do boom, but I don't need to go boom. I just need them not to visit me. And it works great. And then the rest of the year, you don't have to mess with it. After 2 or 3 times, they don't come back.
So they've got a fairly steep learning curve, then I take it.
Yeah, and the rest of that year, they're pretty much gone. Yeah, you leave it out for a week or two and they're pretty much gone. We reach a meaningful understanding.
So Jim, yours is on a metal shepherd.
Yeah, metal shepherd's hook. It's a double. I'll show it to you here in a moment. Boom. I think maybe. No, I didn't pick the right one. Oh, stop that. Try that again. Right now, I've neglected putting suet in it for a while, and the birds don't even come visit me now, much less the raccoons. You know, there we go. And now let's try it.
Oh, crazy. You actually recorded me coming to your house before?
Oh, yeah,
That little
that's,
cage right there in the middle is is a suet. And it's a metal box, and they sell suet to fit in that in a little plastic card, and you just shove the plastic card in that box, and the box is insulated.
Is that legal?
The little cage comes with the suet. Actually, you can get the suet with that cage, and it's tie wrapped to the post, so it's insulated. And all you have to do is I just take it and string a couple of wires off the bird feeder, off the feeder itself, to discourage the raccoons, and leave it on there for a few weeks, and you're good to go.
The squirrels or the raccoons?
Squirrels or raccoons, either one.
Either one. Okay.
Yeah. You kind of hang it down around the post, put a loop around the post, so they have to run into it when they're coming up the post, and they'll get the message. They're mind readers.
How much voltage you have on there?
It's just a little half-mile shocker fence thing. It's just a fence thing, low power fencing, $20 off of eBay.
yeah, they have a fair amount of voltage, but zero current almost, so it
Yeah.
just gives them a little sting.
Yeah, it's not good, for long distance. It's not really good, a good fence. But I have a little gallon jug that I cut some vent holes in. So I take it out by that's right behind our fence. And I take that and plug it in the extension cord and let it sit in the little plastic box to protect it from the weather, and leave it up for a couple of weeks, and we'll be good to go.
So how tall is your shepherd's hook there?
It's probably about 5 foot.
Oh, so you can reach all the stuff from the ground then?
Yeah. I go to the other side and flip the little door down. The feeder has a door on it, and shove the suet cake in there, and then shut the door and put a wrap on it. It's got a little chain that you put on it to keep them, so that it keeps them from opening the door. And that's just a standard one that you get free with suet at Walmart. You may have to buy it separate, but sometimes they'll sell it with the suet.
Yeah, Tractor Supply has a nice selection of bird feeders and suet feeders and so forth and so on.
Is that AC voltage going through there?
I don't know. I would think so. It's gonna be, yeah, they're gonna feed us. They got to step up. They probably got a multi-vibrator and just step up. Yeah.
Yeah, mine has a couple of D cells in it. And then there's some apparatus inside it that I'm assuming it's a multi-vibrator that runs the voltage up to, I don't know, it's a few hundred volts, but essentially
I used to use a
nil current.
flyback transformer, NE 555 and a 3055, 2N 3055. Boom. You got a zapper.
Don't say boom. Ray will
I
get
mean,
excited.
yeah. Cool.
Hey, I'm the kind of guy that's like, yeah, boom, and I'm good for the season.
Yeah. He's thinking raccoons. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, either one of them are pretty tasty if you roast them right.
They're just going straight to the garbage can.
No. Well, that's kind of wasteful.
If you saw what they did to my shed, you'd feel the same.
Oh, I had to drop like $1,000 for a groundhog, okay? Yeah. Dug up under my barn. Had a slab jacket. Oh, man. Unlike groundhogs, like Ray is about raccoons.
I got a couple ground hogs at the property over on Hook Drive. I'm trying to think of how to get rid of them too.
Yeah, groundhogs will bore under anything. They'll even go under slabs.
Yeah, I got a 6,000 square foot warehouse that they have gone underneath of the front 1,000 square feet of it, and I'm trying to find some way to persuade them not to come back.
We could talk offline.
Okay.
But they will do damage, significant damage.
Yeah.
So is this your station there, Leroy?
This was my project. Well, I created it 9 days ago, so I guess it was last week's project that I didn't talk about. These are LoRa satellites in orbit, low orbit. And so
Mhm.
far, I have not been able to decode any of them. But that's not surprising because I don't have a great antenna. These are all ground-based receiving stations. I think the eventual hope of the project is to be able to do two-way communication with satellites, with LoRa satellites.
Uh-huh.
And they've got quite a few satellites up and running. And they're all, most of them are in the 430 megahertz range.
So it's like a 433
Yeah,
0.92 for the for things like your car key and so forth and so on.
yeah, or they're 436, 437, 401, 401. There are a couple of 915, but they say they're not active. 436, 800, 868.
So you can tune those in with a small SDR or a dongle then.
In theory, yes, you should be able to. The was looking, I don't see it now. You know the LoRa boards,
Yeah.
TT Go. The ones that have a screen on them. So these here, they've got images pre-built. You just load them onto this and get yourself a halfway decent antenna. And on the OLED, it'll tell you what you found, which satellite it's receiving, all kinds of stuff. This is actually the board I'm using right here, the TT Go T-beam board, which has it's battery powered, and it's currently sitting in my window. But so far, I haven't really gotten anything. I see satellites all the time, but it's not decoding them. There's a few dozen stations.
Well, you know,
It's an interesting project, and you would not have thought that there were LoRa satellites up there floating around, but there are.
Are these the little cube satellites?
They are.
Well, they could have a jillion of those up there without,
What size is the antenna do you need for that?
433 megahertz, what is that? 70 centimeters, quarter wavelength.
well, a quarter wavelength would be a quarter of 70 centimeters.
Yeah,
So would it be 17 and a half converted to inches is what? 6 inches or something like that,
yeah,
4 inches.
35 or so.
yeah. Quarter wavelength or better is what they say you need. So you don't need much, but you need to get it outside into some clear area. That's my biggest drawback right now is my antenna sitting next to the window. It's just a little stubby too. It is definitely not a quarter wavelength. It's an interesting project though. I thought I would get us back on interesting projects instead of destroying squirrels.
Can you send something to the satellite or not?
So if you're a ham radio operator, they're trying to work out certain logistics about doing it. They've had a few tests, two-way communication tests that have been successful, but so far they haven't completely worked out how to do it. So that was my hope though, was one day maybe that would happen. So when you set this up, it'll actually ask you if you're a ham radio operator or not. So I guess when they upgrade the firmware or whatever, it will happen. And then you can send messages. But you can watch it in the serial console or you can watch it on the screen. So you don't need a LoRa board that has the screen, but it's handy to have the screen.
Okay, it's time for a wrap.
Well, Jim's calling it a night.
It's a night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we gotta get out of here.
See everybody next week.
Okay,
For the
have a
wrap.
good week. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye and bye bonds.